when I tell you, a certain percentage of you listening to this lesson will know how she died simply when I tell you the date. Drusilla left this world on the 24th of August, 79 A.D. Well, that is a date in infamy. When Mount Vesuvius erupted, it had already been coughing and giving signs that something was going to happen. But for the faithful inhabitants of the towns below the mountain, Herculaneum and Pompeii, there was no escape. That's not totally true. Many tried to escape, and a very few actually did, particularly at Herculaneum. The volcano ended up quickly, I believe, with the fumes or the lava or the pyroclastic flow, destroying thousands and thousands of people, but also preserving the buildings. So this opened a window into the art, the architecture of this advanced society, from the plumbing to the municipal planning. It's an amazing place. If you ever are in Italy, do take the journey a couple hours south of Rome and see Pompeii and see Herculaneum. My visits there have been very eye-opening. You'll even see some of the bodies that were, well, let's say, it's fairly descriptive. If you want to see pictures, maybe go online first. But you can see the bodies that were basically baked by the volcano. And it's not just humans, even very famous dog. Was Drusilla one of these? We don't know. But we do know that she died on that day. And she's not the only famous person. There's one other, Pliny the Elder. Pliny the Elder, a famous Roman statesman, naturalist. He was a kind of a Thomas Jefferson of the Roman Empire. But he was a personal friend of the emperor, Vespasian, emperor who lived from 69 to 79. He didn't die in the volcano, in the explosion though. But he was a friend of the emperor, and he was a man of virtue. And he had already escaped, but he was going back to try to rescue a friend when he was overcome by the fumes. So those are the two famous people who died in that eruption, Drusilla and Pliny the Elder. What are the lessons that we can take away from our brief look at Drusilla? And it could only be brief because there's so little to go on. But I thought it would be interesting. 3 lessons. First, cultivate character, not only the outward self. We see this young woman who's preyed upon by others, but she herself makes some very poor decisions. And isn't it often that way when the external appearance becomes what it's all about? In her case, it was her beauty which bewitched men. Poor decisions can be made. And it's not that it's wrong to look after ourselves and take care of our bodies and be healthy. The heart is where the Lord's looking. Cultivate character, not just the outward self. Number 2, and this goes without saying, remain faithful to your spouse. And 3, the lesson we wish she had learned in time, but it's not too late for us, that judgment will eventually overtake us all. Just as Drusilla was overtaken by the eruption of Vesuvius, one day, the Bible says, we will face the Lord, and he may be coming in our lifetime. And 2 Peter describes of the elements melting in the heat. It's very hard to visit a place like Pompeii and not think of the judgment day. These then are the 3 lessons I find in the life of Drusilla. Cultivate character, remain faithful to your spouse, and judgment will eventually overtake us all.